Alright, in Attack on Titan, I think there's only two options for how everything does end. It's either the happy ending, where everybody goes back to paradise and lives out their lives, or there's a very sad ending. But based on Norse mythology, it's very possible that everybody dies. But in this video, I'm going over the happy ending. Then I'm probably going to drop another video very soon, talking about the sad ending, when everybody dies, but two people pretty much repopulate the world. But first, let me go into how Attack on Titan is based on Norse mythology. I think it's very clear if you've been reading up until now, you probably have seen a video on how Attack on Titan is based on Norse mythology. But there is just one concept I think a lot of those videos did just leave out, probably because the Norse mythology craze with Attack on Titan came out before we saw this. But these four things are the clear examples of why Attack on Titan is based on Norse mythology. So I'm going to the big four symbols. Then I'm going to break them down into how they may play into Norse mythology and how they play into Attack on Titan. Because I like how Isayama did write Attack on Titan. He didn't make it clear parallels. He kind of used Norse mythology as a backbone. Then he expanded on those ideas and kind of made a beautiful fantasy world with Norse mythology as a backbone. But with knowledge of Norse mythology, you could kind of see where Attack on Titan is going and kind of predict it. There's four big things Attack on Titan that pretty much tell me that it is based on Norse mythology. There's that world tree that Ymir did fall into and then, came out as the biggest military asset of all time, with becoming the first founder Titan. You can also say Ymir. The reason I say Ymir too much is she just has a name of a Norse god. They use the flesh and blood of Ymir to create Midgard. They use her bones to construct everything that the human world was pretty much tied to. But the reason I use Ymir as one of my big four things is because how she was using Attack on Titan is not the biggest linked to how Ymir was seen in Norse mythology. But she is a concept. If you want to dive into Ymir, you definitely can. If I was going to use a fifth symbol, Ymir would definitely be that. But I'm thinking these other fours are just too compelling. They're more compelling than Ymir as an argument. The second thing I do see is Nidhogg. Nidhogg came out of the world tree from the roots. It came from the bottom. So that pretty much tells me that location wise in Attack on Titan and in Norse mythology, Nidhogg was at the bottom of the world tree. But the reason I say Nidhogg is a good example of how Norse mythology plays in Attack on Titan, pretty much because Nidhogg shows some type of consciousness in Attack on Titan, and everything it has done has led Attack on Titan towards Ragnarok, the rumbling. So you can take a look at how Nidhogg first latched onto Ymir, and then also when Eren was killed, made sure he stayed alive. Nidhogg was that spine. I'm thinking that spine is conscious. Even Gabby has kind of a theory that Titan spine is probably the true nature of Titan power. I'm thinking the true nature of Titan power is Nidhogg, and the goal of Nidhogg is Ragnarok. And also the bird. When Falco was able to turn to that bird, that gave me a better idea of there's too many things showing up in Attack on Titan that are too similar to Norse mythology. Bird Falco is very similar to Vedfolnir. It's like a raven or eagle that sits between the eyes of a bigger eagle on the world tree. It sits perched on top of one of the branches in Yggdrasil, but pretty high up. And it kind of is a watchful eye. It knows all, it sees all. It bickers with Nidhogg actually. How Attack on Titan did set that up is, of course, Falco would be the natural enemy to Nidhogg because the rumbling is what Nidhogg did partake in. So of course, Falco would be an enemy to Nidhogg because he doesn't want the rumbling to happen. And also right now, if you take a look at the battlefield, Falco's also that watchful eye, sees everything. And we'll also go into how Bird Falco is one of the biggest ties to how the rumbling would probably end up with everybody living happily in paradise, because even in the Norse text, there's quotes of a eagle flying around and catching things after the rumbling. So that pretty much tells me that if possible, everybody probably would die. There's another theory I'm thinking that everybody dies, but Falco himself lives in some way. So of course Isayama may do something a little different with it. Everybody probably would get trapped in the past, but Falco's like the only one doing things. It's crazy. So I don't have the biggest idea of that, but I just know that Falco definitely plays a bigger role. Pretty much because Falco has that bird form, and Norse mythology has that eagle that bickers with, Nidhogg. And there's that squirrel that goes between them and sends these messages, pretty much instigating more conflict between them. But I think one of the biggest evidence, and it was kind of in your face with it, that's why I like this evidence so much, that's why I saved it for last, is after Hange died, she showed up in Valhalla. And I even said that when I reacted to the video, because usually when I react to Attack on Titan, I'm not really grasping the information too well. I'm just kind of reading it and just taking it in. I kind of go back and reread everything. When I instantly saw it, because I already knew that Attack on Titan was based on Norse mythology before, but as soon as I saw that Hange, not even that, as soon as I saw there was an afterlife in Attack on Titan, and how everybody were warriors, everybody that was from the Survey Corps. In Norse mythology, it is one of the biggest honors to die in battle, and then come to Valhalla. You'll pretty much have a feast there and party until Ragnarok, the rumbling. So in that case, is it possible that Isayama will bring everybody back to life and fight in the rumbling? I think that would be really cool though, because Valhalla was pretty much where everybody would stay, party, till later when Ragnarok does occur. They'll pull out of Valhalla and they get to fight that last hoorah, or they get to fight one more time. That'd be cool if Isayama lets everybody who died in Attack on Titan come back and fight in the rumbling. I may even drop a video on that specifically, on whether Isayama may let everybody come back to life and fight in the rumbling. But that seems a little unlikely. Hange run out like a real ass nigga, bruh. You have to have so much willpower to be able to go and try and save everybody, knowing but the whole time having your skin burnt to a crisp. That is insane. But yeah, she came back from afterlife. She got to saw EREN. You even saw, if you look closely, Sasha in the background. So that's how that pretty much tells me that that is definitely Valhalla, and Norse mythology definitely plays a big role in how Attack on Titan story unfolds. Now since I set out all the groundwork for how Attack on Titan is based on Norse mythology, based on these 4 things or 5 things you could say, it kind of solidified in my head that the series will end in a way based on Norse mythology, kind of ends the world or Midgard for humans. The rumbling is Attack on Titan's Ragnarok. And there's a couple quotes from Norse mythology that help me kind of back that up. I'm going to take it straight from the text. The eagle will fly over cataracts, swoop into the thunder, and catch fish under crags. That pretty much tells me that Falco would play a factor in how Ragnarok ends, or he'll be there in the rebirth of everything. Since Ragnarok is the destruction of everybody but the Eldians from Paradis, I'm thinking what may very well happen here is, instead of it being Eldian euthanization, it'll be more of an Eldian repopulation. Everybody would go back to Paradis, live out their lives happily, because Eren sacrificed himself as being that devil. So now everybody is, they're in that rebuilding stage, but the reason why it's so blissful is because they have no natural enemy, because everybody outside the wall has died. That may be the only happy ending we could get in Attack on Titan. I'm thinking Eren does complete the rumbling plan. But the only thing that does shock me a little bit is the fact that the eagle in Norse mythology is so present. So I'm thinking Falco may have a bigger role than we may think in how things do play out. But at the end of the day, I think the rumbling plan does finish. Everybody goes back to Paradis. They start to repopulate the world from Paradis. And Paradis will kind of be Attack on Titan's Garden of Eden, where humanity was pushed there and then erupted from. It's going to be kind of like, we say BC or AE when we talk about time periods. But in Attack on Titan's case, they may start calling it AR after the rumbling, or something like after rumbling or after Ragnarok, because life had to kind of reboot after that. And every piece of life can be tied back to Paradis Island, which was after the rumbling. If the story has an actual daughter, that would really validate my claim, I guess. I have another quote straight from Norse mythology. Bro, I've been a fucking nerd on this Norse mythology shit, my nigga. I've been reading this shit like for fun, low key. This shit is interesting as fuck to me, but let's get into it. There's a quote going, "Search fire will not scorch them. It will not even touch them, and their food will be their morning dew. Through the branches, through the leaves, they will see light come back. And before the sun is caught and eaten by the wolf's skull, she will give birth to a daughter, no less fair than herself, who will follow the same sky path and light the world." Even though everything kind of looks dark now, there's light at the end of the tunnel. His story will have that daughter. Like even in the last panel you've seen Attack on Titan, they're holding that baby. I'm thinking the quote in that panel is like, "You are finally free." This will be the first of being free from the chains of war, the chains of oppression, and pulled out this constant cycle of hatred and revenge we see in Attack on Titan. And this will kind of be the genesis of a new world built where Eldians are the only ones there, and they won't have to fear living anymore. So I'm thinking that would be kind of a beautiful way for things to end. Only issue I see with this is also in Norse mythology and in the text, they do say that the Nidhogg does die. So this is the weird part about Norse mythology. They say that Nidhogg dies, but also he doesn't die. It's very weird. I'm going straight to Norse mythology right now. Just a little bit of Norse mythology to give me a little backing. They say that Odin's son Magni killed Nidhogg, but they also say after the rumbling or after Ragnarok, Nidhogg finds his way back to the bottom of Yggdrasil and is going to go back to sucking the blood of the fallen and chewing at the roots. Even though the Eldians kind of live happily ever after, humanity, because at this point it's not LD anymore, if they're the only ones left, they will be humanity. I'm thinking humanity may be doomed to live out the cycle over and over again, because Nidhogg doesn't die for some reason. So this pretty much telling me that this may be like that time loop theory in Attack on Titan where everything goes back to Eren under that tree and he says, Amakasa, you're here. It's very possible that even though everything looks perfect, they go back to that setting. It may happen over and over again. The rumbling may happen over and over again. And Nidhogg definitely did latch onto Ymir, and if he didn't latch onto Ymir, I feel like Nidhogg would have did something to start the steps towards Ragnarok. So the fact that he's still alive tells me that humanity is doomed to repeat the cycle over and over again. Let me pull an example straight from the Norse text. Nidhogg too will outlive the fire and the flood, and under Yggdrasil, he will suck blood from the bodies of the dead. It's GG, bro. This nigga's still alive. Life would erupt back from Paradise, so I'm thinking the gang would finally get to live out the life Eren wanted them to live. Eren knew he had to become that devil. Eren knew that he had to keep on going forward for everybody around him to finally live a peaceful life, free from this cycle of hatred and revenge. Oh yeah, so pretty much going through this video, I'm probably gonna drop another video on ending 2. So I'm thinking this is ending A. I'm thinking ending B. But the reason why I'm very excited to record ending B is because I'm thinking it's very likely, from how dark Attack on Titan may be, that ending 2 may be how things do end, with everybody dying. And 2 very, very special people get to repopulate the world and everybody else dies. You know, stay tuned when I do drop that video. I'm putting a lot of time to that. I actually fell in love with that video while doing this video, because while I was doing research, I figured out more about that than I figured out about this actually. Because the other one sounded a little bit more compelling based on Norse mythology sense. This was fun as hell to record, fun as hell to research. Actually, I love the research aspect of these videos. Definitely gonna drop more videos, probably going to the parallels between Eren and Zeke and Norse mythology's god, parallel between Valhalla and Norse mythology, and how it's very possible that, hey, Isayama may let all these niggas out of Valhalla and let these niggas fight in the rumbling. Really go in the comment section, drop your theory, bro. I want to see what y'all niggas theories is before the end of the series. I don't like to jock niggas theories or like steal niggas theories, but I like to see where other people's heads at. Anyway, this was fun as fuck to make, fun as fuck to record. I'll see y'all when I see y'all, man.